The Internet Retailing Top 500 report shows that approximately 71% of e-commerce websites offer product recommendations. In my experience, it's a slightly lower percentage. One can consider how the recommendations were defined in the study and what was the methodology of collecting this data. However, their great popularity should come as no surprise. According to Accenture's study, 91% of consumers say that are more likely to interact with brands that can offer them relevant offers and recommendations. In this episode, you will learn how to endorse products using product recommendations to make customers compelled to buy them. What exactly are product recommendations and how do they work? A product recommendation is basically a filtering system that predicts and displays the product your customer would like to buy. Behind the system stands the product recommendation engine, an advanced system that uses algorithms and user-specific data such as product ratings and comments, cart events, page views, clicks, and search log, etc., to offer personalized recommendations. The operation of recommendation engine can be divided into following stages: collecting data, model training, displaying recommendations, efficiency assessment, training the model, a feedback loop about its effectiveness. Sounds like something complicated? Is it worth the effort to implement it? It depends. Sometimes it may turn out that the effort put into implementation is not commensurate with the results. This happens when e-commerce has rather low traffic or few products on their site. Regardless or whether you implement the recommendation now or only some time later, you need to know that they are the best thing since sliced bread, and it's confirmed by numerous studies. Let me show you just a few of them. In the description of this video, you will find links to each of the studies so that you can read them on your own. The study conducted by MarTech aimed to quantify the impact of product recommendations on sales. It focused on comparing customers who saw the recommendations but did not interact with it with those who took the recommendation. The study found that customers who were interested in a featured product had a 70% higher conversion rate during that session. The same study found that even visitors who clicked on a product recommendation but didn't buy anything had higher engagement rates. These people are 20% more likely to return to the site later. In addition, customers who interacted with a product recommendation are almost twice as likely to return to the online store. According to Salesforce study, 37% of customers who clicked on a recommendation on their first visit returned, compared to just 19% of visitors who did not click a recommendation on their first visit. So how can you use product recommendations to achieve such results? Include a stage of a customer journey. Before your customer decides to buy a product and leave some money in your store, he first goes through the next stages of a customer journey. Simply put, these stages are: the awareness stage, when the potential customer learns about you and your product; the consideration stage, when he or she thinks about making a purchase; and finally, the purchase. What recommendations to display at each stage? When your customer is at the beginning of their journey, recommendation of best-selling products will work best. Why does it work? This product recommendation tactic uses social proof, the concept that people will follow the action of the masses. This is especially important for e-commerce, but without the ability to try on, touch and see products with their own eyes. Customers are more likely to buy based on the opinion and purchasing decisions of other customers. When considering a purchase, displaying similar product is a good approach. The tactic allows shoppers to see a range of alternative products similar to the one they are browsing, so they can find the one that best suits their needs. This one works well because you can instantly include recently added product in your recommendation strategy without manual tagging or past customer behavior data while recommending relevant products. If you are dealing with a returning customer and you have information about them, use recommendations such as "customers like you buy." This tactic involves analyzing a buyer purchase history of a product and comparing it to other buyers who have viewed those products. Why does it work? By including a headline such as "customer like you buy," you are appealing to the buyer's desire to follow the crowd by putting their purchasing decision in the competent hands of their purchasing predecessors. Try this all-in-one recommendation tactic on your homepage, product pages, search pages, and marketing emails, for example. When a potential customer decides to buy, you have a chance to increase the value of the order. Show him "buy often with this" or "buy together" recommendations while he is still on the cart page. This product recommendation tactic suggests complementary products based on what other customers have bought in addition, who have also opted for the same product or products that your potential customers currently has in their cart. Why does it work? Customers are reminded of accessories and complementary products that they may have forgotten when filling their basket. Also, try adding these recommendations to the email you send customer after purchase to show them the products they might need. However, if your customer is price sensitive, this tactic may not work. Context is a game changer. Proper functioning of product recommendations, having a broader context, can be very helpful. At this point, I would like to mention 3 important relationships that you should take into account when designing and using product recommendation. The relationship between relationships and your shopping personas. Match the recommendation to your ideal customer, taking into account product categories they visit, product they add to the basket, purchase history, age, gender, preferences, interest, context of recent purchases. Continuous upselling can threaten customers' retention if it's not adapted to their purchase frequency. Tesco, in a nice example here, recommendation in the card suggests products that the customer buys regularly, but this time, for some reason, he skipped them at the time of adding to the cart. Product context. Many recommendation engines implement collaborative user filtering to recommend products based on the preferences of similar buyers. How can such campaign fail? Imagine a consumer who is a loyal fan of the Apple brand and regularly buys products only marked with an apple. If he received a smartphone recommendation from Samsung Galaxy A10, it will not match his previous product preferences in any way. Location versus product recommendation. Consider consumers' local demographics and check product availability if you create product recommendations based on the preferences of the similar users. For example, Holland & Barrett, a chain of health food stores, has branches in 13 countries. It also serves customers in all of 13 countries through its online store. As such, the categories that appear in the top trending categories section depend on when the site visitor is coming from. This section looks different for US customers than for UK customers. Test different displaying places. Where and what types of recommendations can you display? Basically, anywhere and whatever you want. Home, is a great place for recommendation like most popular and recently viewed. Your homepage is one of the first pages visitor will land on. Implementing a most popular product recommendation strategy works best here because you can showcase your best sellers to both new and returning customers. You can also create dynamic product recommendation based on products that arouse customer interest. For example, recently viewed products or products related to their last purchase. If you update the recommended products on your homepage daily and you have so-called special deals to take advantage of this and put them into the recommendation frame, the sense of urgency will drive customers to make a purchasing decision faster. I talked about FOMO and other psychological tricks in one of the previous episodes. If you are interested in this topic, I encourage you to watch it. On your product pages and cart page, include recommendations like related products or similar products. If a buyer is on a product page or had added product to their cart, they are likely interested in that products or at least similar products. Use any of these tactics to sell more products defined as related to the product you are viewing or to sell products that complement each other. Test different product recommendation strategies on different pages to see which one engage your audience the most. You may find that sharing your best sellers on your homepage won't get you the results you want, and instead you'll get more conversion by using special deals. A/B tests could help you determine what will work for your e-commerce. This is a comparison of effectiveness of two versions of the recommendation where only one element was changed in the version B. To be able to verify which version is better, select a specific metric to monitor before starting the test. In the case of recommendation, the number of conversion will work best. Observe closely the effectiveness of product recommendation. Let me introduce you to a few indicators that will help you determine the effectiveness of the recommendations. Recommendations conversion rate. The rate is calculated by dividing the number of conversions by the number of all users who performed a specific action, made a purchase because of displayed recommendations. Recommendation clicks. The number of products clicked on by visitors who were actively using recommendations while roaming in the store. This can be calculated as a sum, but it can be broken down into categories such as the number of products displayed on the XYZ category page or on the ABC product page. CTR, a commonly used metric, the number of users clicking on recommendation widgets compared to the total number of customers viewing the page where the same widget appears. The last indicator is the percent of revenue obtained thanks to recommendation. It is the quotient of the revenue generated from recommendations divided by the total revenue generated. Stay up to date if you decide to use technology. You must be aware that it is developing extremely fast and you must follow it. I'm not saying that you suddenly have to become a recommendation expert, but it's good that you follow the trends and the newest solutions. One of them is the addition of recommendations in the so-called search that allows you to search for a specific product by name, code, etc. According to a consultancy, 30% of your store visitors will use the site product search capability. Customers who use search usually know what they want, but thanks to artificial intelligence algorithms, they can additionally increase the value of their cart. They can predict intent and understand customer preferences based on previous interaction, clicks on products, categories, brands, or filters. The more interactions, the more personalized recommendations are. The algorithms even predict that the user may make spelling mistakes or use incorrect or slang terms or synonymous. Where else you can learn about trends? You basically probably observe it on a daily basis without noticing it. I bet you've shopped on Amazon or watched a movie on Netflix more than once. These companies literally set the directions of development of recommendations. According to research conducted by Dynamically Held, 45 different recommendation widgets were already visible on the main page of the application. The Amazon recommendation system uses various filtering methods to recommend products. One is the item-to-item collaborative filtering system. For the system to work, the engine needs to collect tons of users and product data and create relationship between them. There are three relationship models that are created. User item. A user-specific matrix is created that contains the data of all products they have purchased and interacted with. Item. The item matrix contains a mapping of product feature similarities. A gaming laptop and a gaming mouse have the relations of being an electronic item, a computing item, a gaming product, and so on. User. This matrix contains a mapping of similarities in user characteristics. Two users who purchased the same product and they gave it a rating of 4, for example, are mapped together. The item-item collaborative filtering system uses these matrices to filter out the relevant products for each users. Here's a simple example illustrating how it works. In this example, users Kathy, Amy, and Rose are first grouped as a similar in user matrix based on the similarity in their past purchases, browsing history, and product ratings. In this case, the similarity is in their interest in the eyes pop, the only common product all three have purchased. Next, the recommendation engine looks to create relationship between items based on user interest and not product features. Here, because Katie and Amy have both shown interest in a sundae and an ice pop, the engine maps the two together. The sundae is then recommended to Rose because the item, sundae, was mapped to another item, ice pop, he has already shown an interest in. Hence, item-item collaborative filtering. This is how most recommendations like customer who bought this also bought this work on Amazon. The same thing when it comes to Netflix. In fact, you can say that our feed is unique as it is mostly a result of our previous searches and viewing history. Therefore, each of Netflix user might be able to enjoy a content that is fully personalized. And that's all the tips for today. Share your practices in terms of product recommendation in the comment.